Hi, this is just an updated version of the video that I put out yesterday about how to install correctly plastic pressure pipe fittings into plastic push fit fittings using the right tools, inserts, etc. So there was a couple of photos that I wanted to add which I think will be beneficial. So we'll go through it again just to sort of remind you of everything we spoke about last night. This is the pipe cutter that cuts the pipe. We've got an equal T here. It is actually a 15mm diameter, and therefore there's a 15mm diameter insert. A couple of really important points to remember is that the inserts always must be used with push fit fittings and also compression fittings, so that the olive would fine over here. But the most important thing that they all have in common is to make sure that the pipe is all the way inside the fitting. So let's just go through these things separately just to remind you all. As we all know, the plastic pressure pipe cutter is very sharp, and it's this blade here that you can see which will absolutely chop your fingers off very, very quickly. So this pipe must sit in here and your fingers or your hands be right up here, otherwise you'll chop them off so quickly. As you said, we've got an equal T and an insert. So let's just see now what the insert looks like close up. And as you can see, it's plastic. We've got a rubber O-ring here and here. The company that this particular pipe belongs to is John Guest, or also known as Speedfit. And this is an insert that matches with this pipe. Look, there are metal ones on the market. I think it's important that if you can match them up, that's very good. But obviously, the prime thing is that you must make sure you've got an insert in the pipe before you actually place it in the said fittings, be it compression or push fit. The next picture I'm going to show you here is you can see that we've made a very clean cut. I know it's an old bit of piping, you can see some burrs there, but it's a very straight clean cut. It's not angled, so the insert sits quite nicely in there. It's absolutely imperative that you do this every time you place a fitting inside. So the next picture here is what's actually inside. Now the reason I've put these couple of pictures on there is to just show you what is inside, to make sure you know when you install it that you're installing it correctly. Brand new fittings, these will be installed the correct way for the first time. But it's good to know just in case they aren't. But more importantly, in the college surroundings, these get used and used and used. And they get taken apart, they can't get the pipe out, and the bits get missing, the rubbers, the O-rings get split, etc, etc. And these in fact get put around the wrong way. So it's really important to know which way they do, as I've just said. What you can't actually see is inside this nut here, there are 6 sharp little teeth that point inward, so as the pipe goes in it cannot come back out, but rest assured they can pop out if they're not placed in correctly. So the first thing that goes inside the fitting is the rubber O-ring, followed by the plastic spacer here or washer, and then the last thing that would go on top would be the nut. Now there's a couple of pictures here, sorry I flashed through one there. This nut is now fitted over with those 2 items in place, and as you can see there's a small gap here. And we also want to bring this into a second. You cannot push pipe in with the fitting tight. Before you place the pipe in, it must be slightly open, about that much. So it would appear that you're actually trying to undo the fitting and it goes tight again. I urge you to actually practice this before you start installation. And as you can see here, this one is now tight, and this is how it would be when the pipe is actually located into the fitting. So the next points is how far does the pipe actually go in to make sure you know that it's in. Now if it's a new piece of pipe, on the new piece of pipe they have little marks. Well, that's all well and good if you're cutting to those marks, but if you're using a bit of pipe that's actually shorter than that, you do need to know how far it goes in. So let's take a look at these next couple of pictures. What you can see here is that I've marked a piece of pipe, I've got the insert in, and as you can see this little raised edge here, as I can see all the way up if I magnify it, and I put a black mark on it to show you that when the insert is in, that's as far as it will go. But by laying it over the side up to that point and putting a black mark here, you can visualize how far that pipe's gone into the fittings. And thus, if this mark is here, just like this, you know that it's all the way into the fitting. Now as you can see, we've still got this small gap here, and once you've located it and it's correct, you tighten it up. And that would be a correct installation of the actual pipe into the fitting. Next couple of pictures now, I want to show you what it looks like when the pipe is inside so you can see it. And if I just zoom in a little bit, you can see now that we're right up on the mark on the outside. Not so clear there, but there it is there. So we can see that the insert lines right up inside. This one in particular is a blue O-ring, but the black one is before. And as you can see now, there's the rubber O-ring, the spacer, and now the nut that's over the top with the black mark just to prove how far it's gone in. So that's what it would look like once it would be completely installed. Pretty simple and very effective, but if installed incorrectly, very, very dangerous. You can get lots of leaks. Okay, talking about leaks, how do we get the water out of the system? Well, there's a couple of drain-off valves, and as you can see, these are both brass. They're both 15mm diameter, but the clear difference is this spigot that's here. The one on the bottom is used for end feed fittings, Yorkshire fittings, and indeed compression fittings. So this would be the solder type predominantly. And as the one at the top is a spigot length, and this one will be for push fit, it's actually longer because the fittings itself are longer for it to go in. So make sure you get these around the right way. Okay, this one is for solder. You can use this one for solder too, but this one is for push fit pipe more importantly. Okay, thanks for watching. Cheers.